Dealing with procrastination is as human as walking on 2 feet. We all deal with it in different ways, but why? Why do most of us know what we need to do, but we so rarely get around to doing it? Well, my goal with this video is to help you finally free yourself once and for all from procrastination by using an incredibly easy 4-step formula. The specific reason for why people procrastinate will vary from individual to individual. However, as far as I can tell, it comes down to one thing: avoiding pain. This could be physical pain, like procrastinating a trip to the dentist or going to the gym, but it can also be mental or emotional pain. Doing your homework is mentally painful. Having a difficult conversation with someone that you care about is emotionally painful. So by default, humans are hardwired to avoid pain and move towards immediate pleasure and gratification. And it just so happens that most of the goals that we have set for ourselves have rewards that exist far into the future. So achieving those goals often requires a great deal of pain and perseverance to get to them. I'd like to share a quick story from my own experience with procrastination because I didn't realize just how insidious it was until I was able to look back on all of the events that took place over years. And before we get started, as always, I made you a free, easy to use resource sheet that goes along with this video. It'll help you better understand why you are procrastinating with your goals and how you can finally overcome that procrastination. Now, I spent the time to make it for you because I want you to actually benefit from what we talk about here today. After all, knowledge and information are only useful if you put them into action to achieve the desired results. So I'll leave a link to the free worksheet in the description of this video, but if you're watching this on Instagram, just send me a DM and I'll send you a copy. I would also greatly appreciate you leaving me a like or a comment or sharing this video if you do enjoy, because it lets the algorithm know, and that way people who could also benefit from watching this video will be more likely to see it show up in their feed. I make videos on personal development, fitness, and plant-based nutrition, and I also interview other professionals who do the same thing. So subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can get notified anytime I upload a new video. So many years ago, I decided to start shooting videos for a new YouTube channel, and the theme of this channel centered around, go figure, fitness and vegan nutrition. Now, I knew that I was a little camera shy, and I knew that I was dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I figured if I researched my topics enough and if I took enough courses that I'd eventually feel confident to move forward with putting together my YouTube channel. So I studied and I took courses and I studied some more and I took a few more courses, and I didn't feel any more confident. In fact, I felt even more like I didn't know what I was talking about. As a result of my anxiety and my self-doubt, I found it almost impossible to form coherent sentences when trying to get an idea across on video. So I thought up a new plan. Maybe if I wrote out what I wanted to say into a script and I practiced that a few times, that would help me feel a little bit more comfortable. And guess what? It did help me feel a little bit more comfortable. So I wrote script after script after script. I must have written 20,000 or more words covering topics and ideas. Almost a year after I decided to create a YouTube channel, I was finally ready to shoot some videos. My scripts were done. But now I needed a camera, and I couldn't use just any camera because I wanted it to look professional. So I researched which camera had the best features for what I needed and for the best price. And of course, this took a few more months. Now, eventually I had my camera and I had my scripts ready. So I was ready to do this. So I filmed a few test shots, and I soon found out that the lighting didn't look that great. It looked okay, but it didn't look professional. I decided that I should learn how to get higher quality lighting. So I researched how to light the scene properly for every possible variation, and I looked at reviews for which lights I should get, and a few more months went by. It had now been well over 2 years since I first decided to shoot some YouTube videos. So I had researched how to do lighting and what lights I needed, and I even bought some lights on Amazon, the same lights that I'm using right now. But now my lights had arrived, so I was ready, right? Well, not quite. I knew that there was something that I was forgetting. I needed a good microphone because the audio from my camera just wasn't quite good enough. So more research into microphones and many more months passed by, and next came a teleprompter. Then I needed video editing software. Then I needed video editing tutorials to learn the software. So one day I had everything set up and I was ready to record my very first YouTube video. At this point, I had moved cities 3 times and countries twice since deciding to start a YouTube channel. And yes, I lugged all the ever accumulating equipment from house to house every single time. I'll never forget that moment because I was sitting on my couch getting ready to shoot some videos and I was going over the checklist in my mind. Okay, scripts, check. Camera setup. Yeah, I got that, check. Tripod, check. Yeah, I got lights, check. Microphone, got that, check. Sound mixer, check. Teleprompter, yeah, I got that, check. And I sat there racking my mind, thinking to myself, there must be something that I'm missing. But I had everything that I needed and more. I was all out of excuses, no matter how hard I looked for one. So I only had two choices. The first was to get up and record the damn video, something I had been putting off for, at this point, years. And the second choice was to give in to my fear of putting myself out there, take down all the equipment, and just give up. And I wish I could tell you that I mustered up the courage and I recorded the videos, but the truth is, I put the equipment away. I gave up. It would be another 2 years before I finally got the courage to set everything back up and shoot my first YouTube videos. I procrastinated for over 5 years. Why? Well, because the pain and the fear of putting myself out there outweighed the pain and the fear of never getting my YouTube channel off the ground. You know, it's funny, I've been coaching for just over 10 years, and during that time, one of my main jobs has been helping people overcome procrastination. And while it shows up differently for everybody, the root cause is always the same. The pain of doing what you know you need to do outweighs the pain of putting off your dreams for just one more day. So maybe you told yourself that when you got home from work, you would do an hour of exercise. But then when you get home, you see that laundry needs to be done, and your room needs to be cleaned up, and the garage needs a good tidy. And by the time you're done with your evening chores, you're tired, and there's not enough time left in the evening to do your workout anyway, so you just sit down and throw on Netflix. But it doesn't really matter because you can just do your exercises tomorrow. But do the chores really need to be done, or are you just letting them get in the way? So I've come up with a simple 4-step process that you can use when you start noticing that procrastination is taking hold of an area of your life. I came up with this process based on coaching others and also working through my own procrastination. The first step is to give a score to what you know you want to do. Let's say exercising. You then give a score to all the obstacles getting in the way of you actually doing it, i.e. the procrastination. Let's say that you want to exercise for 60 minutes when you get home from work. But when you get home, you find yourself consumed with chores around the house. The laundry needs doing, the garage needs cleaning, and the car is filthy and could use a good wash. So score each of these on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not important and 10 being the most important. How important is it to do the laundry? Well, maybe it's a 5 out of 10 because you still have a few days worth of clean clothes. What about the garage? Well, it's a 3 out of 10 because, let's be honest, it's been a mess for the last 4 years and one more day isn't going to make a big difference. And what about washing the car? Well, let's say that's a 7 out of 10 because you're kind of embarrassed that you have it out in the driveway looking the way that it does. And what about exercise? How important is it for you to do your exercises? How important is it for you to remain consistent so that you can finally lose those 20 pounds? How important for you is it to live in a body that you feel comfortable and confident in? A 10, really? That's pretty high. In fact, that's much higher than all the things that kept getting in the way of you doing it. So step 2 is to be honest with yourself. In this example, you've just identified that all the important chores continuously getting in your way of your workouts are far less important than the results that you will actually achieve from doing those workouts consistently. But why did exercise score so high? It's time to do some inner exploration to find out why this is so painful for you. Channel your inner 5-year-old and keep asking yourself why until you get to the bottom of it. So here's an example of some thoughts that might creep up. Why don't you want to exercise? Well, it's hard. Why is it hard? Well, I get anxious just thinking about how challenging it's going to be. Why do you get anxious? Well, I don't like how hard it is, especially when I haven't worked out in so long. Well, why don't you like how hard it is? I used to be consistent and these workouts would have been so easy back then. Now they're so difficult and I'm just upset with myself. Why are you so upset with yourself? I'm really upset because I let myself get off track and fall so far behind. Why do you feel so far behind? Well, every time I start working out again, I'm reminded of how I just keep failing and letting myself go. Why do you feel you failed and why do you feel like you're letting yourself go? Well, I hate starting over again because I'm reminded of all the times that I've started and I've stopped. I'm reminded of all the work that I put in so many times before, and now yet again, I have to start from scratch. I want to achieve my goals so bad, but I just don't feel like I'm ever going to do it. I'm just going in circles. That may not be your inner conversation, but you can see how this can be a very powerful exercise. The intent is to shed light on the true reason you're finding it so difficult to commit to your goal. Now for step 3. Step 3 is to start small. If you've been following my content for any length of time, then the next step, starting small, will be no surprise to you. Right now, there's resistance because the inner dialogue is telling you that you are a failure. Every time that you start something, you never finish, you never succeed, you always fail. You need to change that inner conversation so that it starts supporting you. You need to start thinking of yourself as a winner, someone who succeeds. In the example that I've given here, the goal was to do 60 minutes of exercise when you get home from work. And that's a tall order, especially when you start understanding why there's so much resistance to following through on that. So let's dial it back. In fact, let's dial it so far back that it becomes impossible to fail. Ask yourself, what is the smallest version of your goal that you could start with today and keep up for the rest of the week? Something so small that you can guarantee yourself 100% that you'll be able to achieve it. Maybe it's 5 minutes of exercise. You can commit to doing at least the warm-up of your workout every night this week, right? It may seem ridiculous to start that small, but when you're creating a new habit, it's not how much you do, but it's how often you do it. It's better to do 5 minutes of exercise at the same time every night this week to establish the habit than it is to do 60 minutes of exercise tonight and then not do it again for 5 weeks. Step 4, set yourself up for success. Now that you have your tiny habit, you need to do whatever you can to set yourself up for success. And one of the easiest ways to ensure you succeed with a new habit is to attach it to an already existing habit. Ask yourself, when you get home, what are some of the things that you already do out of habit? You don't even have to think about it, you just do it. Do you put your keys away in the same place every time? Do you hang your coat up? Do you feed your dog? Let's say that you feed your dog as soon as you get home every single day, without fail. You could anchor the new tiny habit of 5 minutes of exercise to feeding your dog. Make a commitment to yourself. After I feed my dog in the evening, I'll do 5 minutes of exercise. When you get home and you feed your dog, you'll be reminded to do your tiny habit, 5 minutes of exercise. And as weeks go on and you consistently succeed, you can add to your new habit. You could go from 5 to 10 minutes and then 10 to 20 minutes over time. Remember, increase the difficulty at a pace that you can guarantee success with. You're changing the inner dialogue from one that feels like a failure to one that helps you feel like a success. So if you follow these steps, then you can begin removing procrastination from your life. These steps work in every area of your life, not just fitness, so financial, relationships, but you want to do whatever you can to make success a sure thing. So that might mean getting your gym clothes ready the night before, or it might mean having your notepad and a pen ready for you to journal in when you wake up tomorrow morning. It might mean having the book that you want to read set beside the coffee maker, open to the page that you left off on. Set yourself up for success by removing any other barriers that you can identify. I know from my own experience that procrastination can feel like it's just part of your personality. You might see yourself right now as someone who just procrastinates. This is the person that you are, and there's really nothing that you can do about it. But my hope is that you now see procrastination in a different light. You aren't someone who just innately procrastinates. You simply just haven't explored why your goals seem to be so challenging and painful to work on. When you have worked on your goals from time to time, I'd be willing to bet that you took the all or nothing approach, right? The all or nothing approach is a recipe for procrastination and failure. You set incredibly high standards for yourself, and when you don't achieve them, you beat yourself up with harsh criticism. So start small and be kind to yourself. That's the recipe for long-term success. As always, thank you so much for spending some time with me here today. If you don't know me, I want to take a moment and just introduce myself. So for just over 10 years, I've been able to help men and women from all over the world create amazing habits, melt unwanted fat, and tone out their bodies so that they can finally feel confident, attractive, and comfortable in their own skin. So if you're currently trying to change your habits and achieve your fitness goals so that you can enjoy the best that life has to offer, then I've been able to help people in an intimate setting finally take control of their life so that they can find fulfillment, joy, and happiness in their body. Isn't it important to go through the rest of life feeling comfortable and confident and proud of who you are? Isn't it important that you can express yourself and enjoy the best that life has to offer without feeling trapped in your body or trapped by a lack of confidence? Well, that's what I help people do, and I'd like to help you. So I believe you're here for a reason, because there are so many other things that you could be doing right now. So if you feel like this is something that's already calling to you and you'd like to learn more about how you and I can work together, then here's the next step. For people just like you who already enjoy my content, then I'm grateful to extend a very special invite. And that invite is for a 100% free discovery and strategy call with me. All you need to do is click the link just below this video, and if you're watching this on Instagram, just click the link in my bio, and you'll be taken to my calendar where you can select a time that best works for you. And then fill out a short pre-call questionnaire so I can learn a little bit more about you, what your goals are, and how I can help you. And then during our time together, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and we'll go through a few really simple and quick exercises that will leave you with the clarity that you need to know exactly what to do next when it comes to achieving your goals and living your best life possible. And at the end of the call, there will be an opportunity where we can work together in a more intimate setting for a longer period of time, so that you can get the help and the support that you need to once and for all start living life the way that you've always wanted. Because you're here right now, I'd invite you to take that next step so that you can learn more about how you can experience more happiness, more joy, more confidence, and more fulfillment in your life. So click that link just below this video or shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. I'll see you in the next episode.